All right, third time's a charm. I've had a little couple run-ins with my interface today with my technology, but we're just going to give this one more shot. And if this doesn't work, I'm going to eat lunch because I'm getting fucking hungry. But what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations around, mental health and self-development. And the reason I started this podcast is to try and help alleviate some of the suffering that's happening out there in silence. Some of the people that maybe are kind of similar to how I used to be. Maybe you're thinking maybe no one can connect with me. Maybe no one feels the way I feel. Maybe no one thinks the way I think, whatever it could be. Maybe no one's dealing with the shit that I'm dealing with. And so if that's you, then you're my people. And welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show. If you want to join a community like that, a community full of people that either are in the position where they need a little bit more perspective or they need a little bit of help, or if you're in the position where you want to share your perspective and you want to give a little bit of help. I did recently start a group that is surrounded around, these types of conversations. And I've shown, a couple episodes of this podcast would be little clips from those conversations. So if you do want to check those out, I encourage you to do that as well. If you want to join the group, reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram will be at the bottom of the screen down here for the people watching this video. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, then it'll be in the show notes below, but it's at Mark D. Henriksen. Weird spelling last name, so I'll throw that in there for you guys so you can check it out. But yeah, what's going on? I hope everyone's having a good day today. I'm having a pretty solid day. It's Sunday. So we had our call this morning, which set the tone for my day. I got a little run in before that call. I'm always up pretty early, and then I got my meal prep done as well. So I'm feeling pretty solid today. I finished up that call, got a little bit of work done, went to the gym, did a little bit of jiu-jitsu. I'm brand new to that, so if you listen to this podcast and you do jiu-jitsu, then please shoot me a message and give me some tips. I really appreciate that. Actually, if you listen to this podcast, I appreciate that. But yeah, my day is pretty solid so far, but I wanted to jump on here and actually record a podcast episode because of something that we spoke about today on the call, actually. And so, I don't know. I ended up talking about this topic for quite a while in the call, but I think I was just trying to figure out my thoughts. And I think I'm still trying to figure out my thoughts, but hopefully I can crank this out in, maybe a couple minutes and just make this a quick little episode for you guys so that you have something to kind of go off if you want to just, have some new perspective. And so what we were kind of chatting about, we were kind of sitting there and we were chatting about, it was one of those weeks where everyone just kind of had a rough week. And that's completely fine. And that in and of itself is kind of a topic right there. And maybe that's what I should be talking about because we've all kind of had those weeks where it's just fuck, this is exhausting. And we talk about it all the time. It's okay to not be okay. And for different reasons, there was, some people in the group, there was a couple hospital visits. There's a couple people that are just kind of working full time, dealing with some school. There's other things obviously with, people that work at big corporations, in regards to what's going on politically right now. For anyone that listens to this in the future, we're in early 2022 right now, and we're still dealing with all this bullshit in terms of the vaccination lockdown and everything like that. So there's a lot of people that are just kind of dealing with stressors at work and if they're going to even be able to continue to work. And everybody in the group is kind of dealing with different shit, but it seems like everyone had one of those weeks this week. And for me, I did as well. I was just kind of jam-packed. I was a little bit off. I got thrown off my game. My workouts were not anywhere where they need to be. My sleeping was terrible this week. It was kind of just one of those weeks where if my life continued like this, it would crumble pretty quick. And, it just took a little bit of perspective shift. And some of the things that piss me off all the time, and it actually wasn't the case this week, but it typically is I'm very reactive to people, right? And so people can set me off so easily. And I say it that way, but realistically, it's more like I can be set off by people so easily. I'm so reactive that way. And it's so frustrating because that's not who I want to be. So I kind of had to think about it. I had to seriously think about, like, why do people fucking suck? Because that's the way I think about it. I'm like, man, people fucking suck sometimes, dude. And I just think, like, why do people suck? Why do I have this notion? Why do I have this feeling of, like, why do people suck? And it really made me think about, like, why they do. And I think, a lot of it comes down to kind of like preconceived notions that we have. And then when we think that way, or when we are that way, we project that onto others, and we think that others will be that way as well. And so I'll give you an example. Like, say I have this preconceived notion or this idea, and this is going to be like a kind of a silly, example, but I'll use this example because it's easy to grasp, and then you can kind of expand from it after. But, like, think about if you met somebody, or before you meet someone, think about if you have this, like, preconceived notion or this idea that, like, every guy, maybe bodybuilder that goes to the gym, whatever it is, like, you have this idea, like, the people that go to the gym are vain and selfish and conceited and whatever it is. Like, you just have this preconceived notion. And then you meet somebody who does go to the gym. And they're maybe, it could be, you could be at the beach and they kind of have their shirt off, they're jacked, they're fucking obviously like an avid gym goer, probably, has a pretty solid chemistry set at home and deals with some maybe some superior supplementation that most people wouldn't. It's the type of guy I'm talking about. And you have this preconceived notion or idea. So that makes you a bit abrasive if you guys communicate with each other, if you guys talk. And because you've been abrasive and you have this preconceived notion that he's going to be like a selfish prick, or he's going to be very vain, or whatever it could be, you're very abrasive when you speak to him. And because you're abrasive, he does come off as, maybe a little bit. You can see exactly where I'm going with this. And well, if you can't, then, I don't know what to say, but I'm pretty sure you can see where I'm going with this. Like, we kind of have these preconceived ideas or visions or perspectives on how the world's going to work or how these people are going to act. And then because of that, we change the way that we act. We change the way that we are going to speak to them, or the way that we are going to interact with them. And, right off the bat, we're kind of setting everybody else up to fail. We just think that we view people as a group of others, and then we assume their maybe opinions or their values or their behaviors or the way they're going to act, and then we treat them differently because of that. And they can feel, like, you can feel when someone's treating you differently because of something. And so, of course, they're going to be a little bit more standoffish. Of course, they're going to be a little bit more hesitant to kind of have, like, a good interaction with you. So it just kind of, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost. And then, furthermore, when you do react negatively, it solidifies, or it kind of concretes that idea or that preconceived notion, even further. So any negativity or any abrasiveness that there was, or any animosity that there was before, just got multiplied. And so just kind of by having that negative reaction, or that, for me, when I blow up or when I have one of those reactive, tantrums or whatever, then it's so obvious that just kind of perpetrates the problem even further. And, it just kind of makes me think, like, it's like, man, you wouldn't fucking bite a dog if the dog bit you. Right? Like, it's like, people, why are they acting rude? Because they have this preconceived idea. Like, that's like kind of like, and so they're just going to act almost defensively. Like, it's kind of like they're buckling up. Like, oh, fuck, I've got to deal with this person that's different. Or that thinks differently. Or I've been told thinks differently than me. And so you kind of have to think about, like, for yourself, like, it's like, how do you want to be remembered? Or like, because I know for myself, like I was saying earlier, like, I don't want to be remembered as that guy that's kind of reactive. I know that that's how I'm going to be. Like, it's just, maybe that's due to my nature. Maybe it's like a nature versus nurture thing. I don't know. But like, maybe if I'm going to be reactive, I don't want to be known as the guy that reacts that way. You kind of, and this is where I said on the call as well, like, even just thinking about the way that you want to be remembered, or your identity, or how you want to act or behave, or whatever it is, like, I kind of was thinking, you know, when we're like kids, especially from, like, if you're from like a small town, you kind of want to always change, or you want to escape. You want to go to a new school. You want to move to a different town. You want to go to the city. You want to go somewhere else, so that you can kind of create a new identity, because everyone that you grew up with already knows you think, or you have this preconceived. So it's like you have to fall in line. But it took me so long to realize in my life that you don't have to move. You don't have to change. I mean, I even changed schools as a teenager, trying to get that fresh start. But you can just do that every day. Like, you can just change the way that, you know, the way that you interact with the world, the way that you interact with people, the way that you interact with people that frustrate you and piss you off, and the way that you prepare yourself for that, right? Because we talk so often, and like, this is something on the podcast that we talk about all the time as well, where it's like problems and the adversities in your life and all the struggles that you're going to go through, like, all of those things are fucking inescapable, and we all know that. But then one of my favorite things I learned about from kind of just studying more stoicism and things like that, like Marcus Aurelius talks about, like, just kind of waking up in the morning and telling yourself that these people are going to be who you interact with. You know, like, there's going to be that 1 in 100 of people that fucking suck. And so you just kind of have to tell yourself, like, oh, this is one of those people. This is one of those people, like the people that piss me off. And if I want to, you know, maybe, and if I want to have positive interactions with them, maybe I'm going to think, maybe this isn't one of those people. Maybe this is just a person, and they might think differently than me. And maybe how can I learn from them? Right? Instead of, why do I have to tell this person this thing? Like, and that's the last, like, kind of big thing I was thinking of, is like, you know, when I do interact with someone I don't like, or that I don't agree with, or whatever it is, I'm so quick to just start telling them all the things that I think. Like, yo, these are all the facts. And did you know this fact? And did you know that fact? And maybe you didn't think about this. I'm always so quick to tell someone, but it's hard for me to kind of take the pause. And you guys hear me say, like, all the time, but it's hard for me to actually just, like, take a pause and think about what I'm going to say. And a lot of the time, like, ask questions instead of say the things that I want to say. Like, kind of ask the questions, you know, if they are rude to you, kind of ask them why they would. Maybe you could start with ask them why they would say that thing. Maybe you misinterpreted it altogether. Or maybe ask them about, like, why they think that way, or why they value a certain thing, or why they, you know, where your differences lie. If you can get down to the nitty gritty of, like, where your differences lie, then you could also see what you have in common, and kind of where you think similarly. And maybe you guys see the same problem, but with, like, a different solution. Or maybe there's a common enemy. Maybe there's some common ground. And I think that that's kind of the way that you can kind of end these divisive conversations, these conversations with people that are rude, people that are, you know, ignorant, people that are discriminatory, people that any negative interaction that you're having like this. And so that's all I got for today. Again, it was a little bit of the stuff. So if you're in this group, then you know exactly, like, what I'm talking about. We were just talking about all this kind of stuff in the call. Obviously, we went into a lot more depth, but because I forgot to record this call, I wanted to just kind of go over this one more time, just so I can kind of collect my own thoughts. So if you guys have your own kind of opinions on this topic that I didn't really talk about or I didn't cover, please do shoot me a message, or hey, let's jump on this fucking episode together and we can redo this whole thing. But that's all I got for today. Thank you guys so much. Like I said in the very beginning, if you listen to this podcast, I fucking appreciate you. Like, it's so funny when you start a project like this to see who supports you. And for all of you fucking people out there that message me on Instagram or reply or comment on the YouTube channel, like, trust me, I see that shit, and I'll never fucking forget that. I'll never forget the people that were just wanting to support. It's so crazy to think, like, and this is something that I learned a long time ago when I first started this. It's so crazy to think that, you think some of your closest friends or your family members are going to be the people that, support your business or support your podcast or be the main people that help you, prop you up and share the show and they don't have to, it doesn't have to be a business where you're selling something to make a living, but just, it's crazy to see the people that you'd expect to support you, are usually the quietest voices, and the loudest people, the people that support you the absolute fucking most, are the most random fucking people that you meet on like fucking social media. So it's just so crazy to think that, and I took it to heart. In the very beginning, it kind of pissed me off, and it made me, I was like offended until I realized that. And I realized that I have to make a solid effort to try and support more of my friends. So if you do have a business, if you do run something, or you got a little side gig, let me know. I'll give you some shout outs. I'll try and show support the best I fucking can. We'll try and get you on this podcast, but I just want to uplift each other and try and help out other people and kind of bring them up, because when you do start that journey of, a new project or a new business or whatever it could be, it can be so discouraging to see that, the people that you think are going to support you don't, but you have to push through that to understand that the people that are going to prop you up the most, you don't even know them yet, and you have to start to get to know them. So for everybody that's come along this journey so far, you're who I fucking do this for. You're literally the reason I do what I do. So thank you so much. A big fucking shout out to all those fucking supporters out there. Keep doing what you're doing, and I'll keep doing what I'm doing. Actually, I'm going to keep fucking doing what I'm doing no matter what. So thanks for coming along for the ride, and thank you for the support. I fucking love you guys. Much love, and peace out.